Recently, during my visit to Northeast India in Arunachal Pradesh, I found myself having a conversation with various men from different background, different age group, different class group, different profession. A driver, somebody was from a hotel manager, somebody were hotel worker, somewhere from construction field, and somewhere from farmers uh, in the villages. And I was just having conversation with them, and I decided to ask them very simple question. I asked them, what is one of the biggest nightmare for them? What is the biggest nightmare for them? And I expected very different answers from different people because they were from different ages, different culture, different backgrounds. But what I got was very striking, revealing for me from for men's psychology, self worth, and I can completely understand through my own journey. In case you are new here, my name is Devapam, and I am an open heart surgery survivor. I'm a cardiac survivor who has run through half marathon after that. I'm a counselor, and I talk about psychology and how can everybody in this world have psychological tools to live a fulfilled life. So whenever I get opportunity, I try to talk to people not about economics, not about politics, but more about to understand more about what goes through behind people's mind, something deeper. And this case, I was trying to understand what is that burden the men are carrying. So I asked this question: what is your biggest nightmare? And the answer that I got, not different but very similar version of the same answer, which was, what if I lose my income tomorrow? Mind you, they did not say that what if I lose money, but they said, what if I lose my income tomorrow? So they were trying to associate their fear of losing income to losing identity, losing value, losing reputation. Majority of them answered the same thing in some or the other way. They were trying to think, they were trying to impose their identity. They felt, they feared that they were scared. They feared that if they lose the money, not what you have, but if they lose the income, they might lose status in the society, they might lose the respect in the family and the society, they might also lose being valued, which is one of the core purpose of living, right? Being valued by others. And that answer kind of gave me some shock, that why are men trying or ident or why are men connecting their self-worth with the income, not the amount of money they are bringing home, but an income. They're not the capacity of earning. My first impression was probably they are talking about money, but when I got deep into the discussion, I realized they're not talking about being rich, they're not talking about having a luxurious life, they're not talking about increasing their wealth. They're simply talking about, I have work today, what if I don't have work tomorrow or for prolonged time? And that is a concern for them. That is a minimum requirement for them to be valued. And that's what they presume, that's what they assume, that's what their perception is in their mind. That's the deepest fear in their mind, that what if I lose my respect? What if I lose my income? And the reason could be anything. The reason could be illness, the reason could be any unfortunate incident, the reason could be economy, the reason could be politics, it could be anything. But ultimately, they all were scared of losing this stream of income. So when I started talking to them, I realized that they're talking about providing, they're talking about their identity of being a provider. Now, I understand that in today's modern world, the landscape is changing. Women are earning, women are also contributing to the family, but the immense amount of pressure, and especially in the northeastern part of the country where it's very matriarchal in nature, and I saw a lot of women working, and they were working in each and every field wherever the men are working. So it's not about that economic status, it's just about being it's about, in the men's psychology, about being the provider, right? Or it's like having an identity that you are providing. It's not necessarily huge how much volume you're providing, or are you providing more or less. It's just about providing, right? It's just about that respect that he earns and brings home something. And this was not the only answer that I got, of course. My sample size was small. I'm not claiming this to be a very scientific research. I have very few people to talk to. Even though the sampling was random and it was, you know, the breadth of the people that I spoke to were very different. Like I spoke to a farmer in Sangti Valley, in the village. I spoke to a driver who was driving us to Tawang, to the Bumla Pass. Then I spoke to somebody who was a construction worker in Dirang, whom I was talking to, during my morning walk. I was talking to somebody who was a hotel boy in Shergaon, right? I did talk to somebody who is a government employee, who is not originally from Arunachal Pradesh, but from other part of the country, in the northeastern part of the country, but he was working as a government employee, and who was as a co-traveler. He was also traveling. He was not originally from that area, but he was from, I guess, the central part of the Arunachal Pradesh, which is close to Itanagar. But he was traveling here in the western part, West Kamang district. Uh, but having said that, the breadth of the sampling was good enough, but still I cannot proclaim it to be huge research. However, it gives me the pattern. It helps me understand the pattern how men were thinking in this small survey that I did. I got one more very interesting answer about this, which was not very popular, but I still got that answer. That was that, what if one of my past secret comes out and I lose the respect in my society? Right? What if things that I did in the past, which I'm not proud of, and I have kind of hidden it, masked it, and I'm known as somebody different. But what if that comes out and I lose my respect? It was another answer that I got. There was another answer of losing my family, which was another answer that I got, but predominantly these were the answer. However, when I asked the second questions and I kind of combined these two questions into the answer, I found even more deeper connect of men's psychology. I'll tell you what was the second question. The second question was, whom do you share this with? And trust me, they said 90% of the people, they said no one. They did not have anybody whom they can trust to share this. Some one person did share that I do share with my best friends of two maybe, but majorly said no one. So they have this deepest fear of losing the income stream, and they cannot share with anybody, right? So just imagine the amount of the burden that they shared, the amount of burden they are carrying, in terms of uh, uh, you know in their everyday's life. And how do I correlate or connect this with stress, right? So I was talking to them about stress, and they did talk about they all have been stressful. However, because they are people from mountain, because they were people from the reasons where they are taught to be very welcoming, they are taught to be very resilient enough, they are taught to be very hardworking. They cope up very nicely with the stress. So they are always welcoming. They're always smiling. They're always warm, right? They are very highly, very high on hospitality. So they did cope up with all of these things. However, 80% of the people whom I spoken to had they take some or the other medicine, either for cholesterol or diabetes or something very similar, right? So they had this correlation with the stress and the burden that they were carrying. And this gave me a very specific pattern of men's psychology, of people here that I spoke to, about how one thing that leads to another, and how heart diseases among men are continuously rising because of the burden that we are carrying. Now, this was very, very interesting for me, and very, very striking, and something that I could very well correlate to. And I'll tell you why. When I went through my cardiac surgery, and I had my open heart surgery, and I was at home, many people who were around me, they spoke about how my life would never be the same. They spoke about how I would not be able to be as I was before the surgery, right? And that gave me immense amount of I would say I felt, okay, why am I being cancelled out, right? Why can I not be the same person that I was because of surgery? And that fear that I will never be the same again for others, it fueled my energy to take my recovery very seriously, my rehabilitation very seriously, my training very seriously, exercise very seriously, and that gave me that push. And when I look back today, I realized that this was probably the same fear of not being valued again, not because of income, but the fear was same, right? Even here, if you see it very in a psychological scale, it's not about income, it's not about money, it's about associating ourselves, our identity, our value with something. So these people, they have associated their associated their identity, their value with the income they're earning, right? And that's why they fear of losing it. The fear of losing their value is the self-worth that they're talking about. They're not talking about income per se, they're talking about the self-worth that they have tied with the income. I When I was struggling with my recovery, I tied my self-worth with my physical fitness to be the same again, right? So I tied my self-worth there. So it was all about the self-worth. But I was lucky enough to have somebody in my life as my wife, whom I could share with my whom I could share with the deepest fear that I had. And but not everybody is as lucky as I am in that matter, right? So if you are struggling with something similar, if you resonate with this, and if you want to talk to somebody, please feel free to reach out. Feel free to for a discovery call. If you are feeling something similar, please do write your comment here about the stress or the burden that you go through. If you want to talk more about this research, know more about it, want to know more about it, please go to zenmindfulness.in. It's my website where I have written this article. Or you can always reach out to me on sanyaldevapam@gmail.com. You can write about it and we can talk about it, right? Till the time, thank you so much for listening in, and I hope to see you very soon again. Thank you.